After the work. Thank you for it.
Walking fast.
Yeah.
Yes. It was the. No. Oh, well.
There's a lot of people getting over, so we just short side. Yeah.
We got overly excited.
Later, yeah.
We need on the press. The press is in here.
Voting.
Patient, coding.
We want to try to get one off the stage. It's the real deal. This is the road.
You have an old coding of the blue house we did.
Don't think there is.
We'll take it. Can we have it? Thank you. 6 o'clock, Chairman.
Call this meeting of the Island Board Authority together for September 13th, 2023 at 6:03 p.m. Please stand for the invocation. Nothing? That's right. Heavenly Father, we thank you for this hour and for this day that you have given to us to gather together to deal with the issues at hand. We ask, Heavenly Father, tonight that you would just give us God's wisdom and take away man's wisdom. Give us the direction that we need to go. Help us tonight make the right decisions and do the right thing. Be with our first responders, be with our military, protect them, hedge them in only a way that you can. I ask that you would bless this time now, watch over us and keep us. May we do all things to please you. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call.
Commissioner Cole,
Here.
Commissioner Nelson,
Here.
Commissioner Taylor, Vice Chairwoman Hill, Chairman Fullwood.
Present.
Thank you.
Start off with audience comment. Because we've got so many, I'm going to limit you to 2 minutes. I think I know what most of you will be talking about. Some of you probably won't hear what one will say and not want to say the same thing. But we'll see. I want to start off with, is it healthy protein? He's here for family Cosec. There's the podium right there, and we got a microphone right there. We're ordering a podium for our next meetings. They have one here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I am Elise Pearlstein, reading for every section of the North Third School in the week.
Hold it a little closer. There you go.
Thank you. And please order us to watch it. Sorry, I live at 1521 Franklin Street, in Fernandina Beach. Candy says, thank you for allowing my comments to be read into record by proxy. I am disappointed not to be present to watch the discussions surrounding the potential sale of the 3 farms. However, I will be watching the live stream and both audio visual experiences and improve. And thank you for asking the citizen feedback related to these parcels. As provided to you and included in the meeting packet, there is really no surprise for the great majority of neighbors on which show preference. They have a heavily wooded lot because into a massive park, and the other lots heavily planned to act as buffers from port traffic. While this option would reduce expenses in the form of road and forward pilot payments, it does not renew the immediate income we're seeking. So it seems the sale of 1 to 3 parcels is inevitable. In this case, 2 of the most important requests from the community in the historic district have been made abundantly clear. The preference for a local developer or builder with record of success in working with the historic district council and the city. And most importantly, placing very specific key restrictions on this lot. To include 50-foot wide lot minimums, single family detached homes only, fronting north third when possible, and additional buffer requirements along third will be under consideration. Commissioners, stop. It is not enough for you to talk about these requests and say you will select a broker that will work with the community. We need the ironclad protection of recorded deed restrictions. We have all referred the last 5 years to open lines of communication between OPA and the community as neighbors and citizens in Nassau County. We need to see open do the right thing, like you said, to protect our community now and in perpetuity. deed restrict all lots and start the process tonight with a vote certain to do so. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Yes, well.
I don't have to use the microphone, I don't think. We don't need it to be loud. Here, I live at 310 Cambia Street, and I will always be brief. So thank you all for being here and for being in the meeting, that we had along our neighborhood, speak that. I think you hear fairly from the neighborhood residents that we would like single family residents, 50 by 100 lot minimum. And it had to be restricted to place on, so that no matter who owns these properties, the integrity of the neighborhood would be something. Thank you.
Thank you, Gary. George, citizen?
Hi, my name is Joyce Chu. I live at 2120 Beach Street and on the board for Mr. Nassau. We are very concerned about these lots now currently sit in the same flood hazard zone. However, I am no certified I'm steward educator. At the current accelerated rate of sea level rise by 2050, all of those lots will not only be wetland, they'll be considered in the flood hazard zone. I understand the need for the money and the possibility to sell at least one of the lots, but it should be taken into strong consideration that every single one of the lots can have the conservation. Because what will happen to this city and future residents of this city is that as more and more properties are damaged by storms, our tax revenue will lower because people will demand that they pay fewer taxes on properties they cannot use. Properties will be abandoned and city costs will go up. So city costs will go up and revenue will go down. And this will only add to the problem with these properties going to development. Thank you. Appreciate your time.
Thank you. Dick, comment.
That I'm on more future one or 6th grade. And certainly know that community does that. But we can think about it. The group of you in the past moved it, open mind, here, and concerned as well for the overall best interest of the stories. I hope everyone agrees that the sale of 3 parcels has the potential to impact the town and the work in the historic district for decades. I don't want to be redundant, and the comments that they made, sent you emails, giving me verbal feedback about our concerns, requests. The neighbors recognize what was desire and need to sell the 3 parcels. Cover expenses. We do not want to set hurdles or stand in the way of the goal accomplishment. All residents agree on that ecological disposal, ironclad assurances need to be put in place in formal deed restrictions placed on the parcels. What's encouraging is the chair will continue to publicly state that over will put deed restrictions on these lots. Thank you for that. It's been said already, the most important restrictions are the lots of attached single family homes. Lots of new buildings to be consistent with existing homes. and the development process and the need to follow historic district guidelines. In doing so, we believe the integrity of the historic district will be preserved, homeowner property values will be protected, and an already busy truck field intersection will not be reversed. In a nutshell, the work rate serves the community.
Thanks, sir. Bob Bertie, I have a problem that. Problem that, okay? Who's there?
Who's there? 432 North Third Street. I'd like to say that I was a supporter of support operations for being here. I've been there since Al, Chris, and now that. So let's take that. This responded more to what we asked than any of the other. But my concern is not with the opposite, it's with hope. And I want to see you to see that. My question to you is, what are you doing? Why are you spending this amount of energy and drop in the bucket solution where there's a bigger picture problem? I don't think you're going to succeed by selling this property and spending it on whatever. Other concern is who is answering, who is surveying, overseeing the contract? How do you value wear and tear on the facility? I've watched, and I know some people spoke about the damage to them. That damage is one thing about the wind, one time. The rest of it is operator damage over the years. And it's getting pieces where now have to put rows of piping up to go. Those should be managed by over. Not just say, okay, we'll be over this amount of money to have to pay. To me, it's not. I'm used to having to pay for facility finance. Within medical, if we got a facility and we damaged it out of my budget, and whatever amount of money was damaged, instead of support will not be affected by sales this problem. I'm going to read a quick one from. That is?
No.
All right.
Thank you very much. Catherine there.
Captain, there, 432 North Third Street. I think we have communicated conversation, writing and in meetings, what our concerns are about sale. And I believe the decision to go forward with sale, the lots, has both irrevocable and irresponsible consequences. Just look at what happens when you open this box. Open will be further isolated from the community that you have a fat soldier in the community. And our ability as a community and neighborhood to steward the history and the property and the homes of the north end of Third Street, which has always been Captain Street, not Condo Road, is irrevocably compromised. The effects of density, the traffic, the loss of green space, the congestion, the loss of walkability, those are irrevocable. You cannot put it back in the box. Once you hand this to the developer, it is done. I think we've communicated those, and I hope that you have heard them. But if you proceed to make that decision tonight, then I would ask that you take the action to mitigate and to minimize, not by passing restrictions or suggestions to a broker. Obligation is to make it proper. By passing those requirements in the form of deed restrictions legally registered against the property, and those include the ones you have heard before, 50-foot single family homes, creation of lots of homes in the same orientation as the neighborhood, maintain R1, R2, and U1 zoning, establish and protect the vegetative order, and utilize a break approach to understand what HCC needs, Because more than just flags on the property, present their resume. Someone who knows what they are dealing with. In summary, proceeding does not meet the mission or the charter of Oakland. There is nothing here but damage. This sum of money is inconsequential to the major issues facing the court, and it will not provide a long-term solution. It does provide unrecoverable impact. It is a poorly placed Band-Aid on a bullet hole. Thank you.
Dan Bible?
Good evening, Daniel, 3270 South Pleasure from Virginia Beach. Keller Williams Commercial, I'm one of the 5 or from the proposals out there to sell this property. That's the best solution. There's probably a win-win here with the design build process. We have deed restrictions up here. The idea of the investment that was made years ago by the board is to optimize their ability for return on investment, but also work with their neighbors. What I've seen here is an ability and a willingness to a certain degree of both sides coming together. We have a city involved as far as lawsuits are concerned and ongoing operations. These two parcels represent more than just a quick fix that I heard here tonight. It's a opportunity for the community, for the courts, the commissioners, and also the community. Thank you very much.
All right. Moving on with the agenda, we have approval of minutes for August 9th, 2023.
I'm gonna have one change.
All right.
I'll make a motion to approve the change.
How do we need a motion to approve?
First section 8A, second paragraph, the fourth line. The word "deed restrict" should be "deed restrict." Changing from "deed restrict" to "deed restrict" in the fourth line. And I'll make a motion to approve that.
That's all. We don't need a motion to change.
We'll do it down the minutes.
Oh, you need the motion to adopt the minutes. So that change.
Correct, yeah.
Also. We have a motion to make that change and adopt the minutes in the discussion. All in favor of the motion, signify by saying aye. All opposed, no.
Excuse me, Chairman, was that seconded? Was the motion seconded? I didn't hear it.
Yeah.
Commissioner Cody seconded.
Then I take current office meetings and Nassau County Chamber of Commerce membership record. You want to pull those out or approve them both together? I'm not sure there's anything we can do about that. You know, when you was coming, before we approve them both together. That makes money. Consent item.
I'll second the motion.
Motion made and seconded to approve the consent item agenda. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, no. All right. Court attorney report.
Thank you, Chairman. Just a couple of updates beyond what you see in the report. There's still no decision in the Gulf Breeze case, which is directly on point to our property appraisal case. The Supreme Court still has that case. If you recall, they heard full argument in April. We still haven't heard anything. Regarding the court's demand for indemnity upon the port operator, we have not received a response. I've reached out a couple of times in this church today. There's some availability to discuss this issue with them later this week, with no real movement there. For the city of Fernandina Beach case, the pilot payment case, this report was generated prior to receiving the city counter proposal, which was on September 7th. I've discussed this with a couple of you. If you have any questions, please reach out to me directly individually to discuss. Everything else is pretty self-explanatory. I have to answer any questions that I can put.
Any questions for Pat? There are none, we'll move on. Court accountant report.
Chairman, before we move on, I guess I'm questioning about the technical, the audio visual items and then, did you only, we only had one or two, did you want to address technical? Audio visual reviews.
That's pretty on mine.
Yes. Yeah, all right. So we can discuss that. What are you gonna talk about? Technical systems, all of them.
Yeah.
I think we've got it.
Yeah, so I had asked Rosanna, to do a little bit of research about what we needed, and we had to improve the consensus. I'm not sure, Rosanna, did you have something?
So, I think we need a microphone to hear everybody. Right now, we're just renting those microphones from the PEC. And so I looked up microphones and speaker. The projector we're using right now is borrowed from the fire department, and that's the brand. It's $800, but comparison, it looks like 109 is good, but I don't know what the board wants. That's why I put it on the consent item.
So I think these are important investments the board has made, they have to back themselves in interested meetings. In this room, we have some future challenges, what this building is, doesn't acoustics for online, streaming of meetings. And to serve the public, it's important to be responsive to that, so I would support, like, make a motion through adding these items for consideration as part of our budgetary discussion.
All right. Yeah. Motion made and seconded to approve the audio visual equipment. You're going to put a limit on that? Or whatever it takes.
Based on what you just shared.
Okay.
Sure. I think it would be part of the budget discussion, so we can have one line item number. We can just very quickly tally that up so we can get to that item. Okay.
All in favor, signify by saying aye. All opposed, no. All right.
Thank you for that one.
All right, accountant. Here.
Yeah, so the monthly report is in your package. You received the quarterly fee. You also received the ARPA reimbursement for the wages for June, July, and August. You also received, so then you received the final reimbursement on the management, on the study, on the report study, master plan, sorry, the master plan. So this is the final reimbursement, so that project is now closed. And the last item that we received was Zion Bank, the annual bond fee, 1,500. So we received all 4 years, we've been for $6,000. So all that income was received in August. So, The only thing on the expense side is obviously we made our first rent payment to the fix center, so other than that, everything's kind of normal expenses. On the next page is the customs house, setting the normal, utilities. And finally, the back. That's all I have. That's it, I have.
Any questions for Pierre about the financial report? Go ahead. Anything else? Okay.
Talk about the budget.
Yeah, for now, yeah. All right. Executive Director report.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. You have my written report in the package. Several of the items will be discussed as part of the agenda going forward, so I won't focus on that. We have been spending a lot of time on coordinating the efforts of the resiliency plan that we talked about over the last several months. We're now looking probably at an end of October, early November completion, and at that point, we'll want to do another joint meeting with the city like we did at the kickoff, so that we can share our results, not only with you, but also with this city commission as well. I will be meeting with the interim city manager and the city's engineering consultant. It's putting together part of their resiliency plan. We'll be meeting out at the terminal tomorrow. There's been good coordination and communication going on getting that plan taken care of. Continue to coordinate with the town of Callahan, the Nassau County School Board, and the county on a potential economic development opportunity for the western part of the county. Nothing to report on yet, but we're making some progress with getting a plan put together. Also had the opportunity along with Commissioner Cole and Commissioner Nelson to attend the groundbreaking ceremony earlier this week for the water sewer plant at Copper Diamond.
I was also there.
Oh, I'm sorry. Commissioner Cole, I think it was a good showing, and it's a good kickoff. Well, we hope to very important project for Nassau. Continue to coordinate with representatives of NARAD. I had a meeting with the regional director earlier in the week, and continue to keep them apprised of where we are with the flood letter and our attempt to work with the operator to develop service going forward. Those are probably the highlights. Fortunately, we dodged a bullet with the last storm. Throughout that effort, Commissioner Cole was in the Emergency Operations Center, and I was able to provide updates via the operator to the state DOT and the governor's office as we rescued that storm event. And glad we missed one this time, and we'll be prepared for the next one.
Any questions? I'll move on to the operator for his report.
Commissioner, President, August was slow up. We had some loads being city, that's the way that works. We started off with the spot, but hopefully that's better. This month we're seeing more better activity for last month, summer file containers was right along on average what we normally see there. We had one blue pulp vessel, 7,500 ton vessel. The one thing I'm happy to report is our largest customer is giving us the commitment to double their production throughput through the terminal. We're already seeing that product coming through right now, coming into the terminal. if you notice that, on the other part of the town, it went from 162 up to 200, and we'll see those numbers increase as that customer brings in, more product. This month, we're working a KLB shift this morning. We've got a pulp shift right behind it. And one other one here later on, plus the summer isles call. And all of those are heavier honeybees than what we've normally seen in the past. So I do look forward to him being much better than what we've seen in the past. Question?
I understand the ebbs and flows of the time. So is this, the season is not what I'm looking for, but we expected, to begin for August or at least it's kind of.
Kind of hit or miss. We really thought we'd see a KLB shift come last month, but we didn't see this one, and it's taken more cargo than last. But Matt and Kyle met with the customer just a few weeks ago, and they confirmed that they're not only putting more rail cars to schools right now, they've already got the vessel coming in the next 45 days. So that there's going to be more.
So you're considering the battery warehouse in light of some of the volume fluctuations. Are you still validating that, or how do you see how do you see that running into this pattern?
Yeah, we will, because where we are today, most of the time, as the product comes in and out through the warehouse, and many times we're just near capacity. With the lumber, I mean, we went from used to be lumber went inside and now lumber outside. So with this increased throughput that we're seeing, that will become one of our anchor customers that more than likely part of that product will house there. There's also opportunity that Matt's working with right now for a few solid products that's good for the island. That will fit inside that ship.
Well,
And if I may, Chairman, I do need to announce publicly that I have accepted a position within our company, and this will be my last meeting. The gentleman that will be replacing me at these meetings, his name's Ray Hale, Heal. Ray's been with the company for a few years. He's leading for Savage, our baby side of the hip operation. For internals, we have now we acquired top. It's great to be here, meetings long and times, supported by Matt and
comment?
Yes, I was just gonna, I talked to, but thank you, to serve the announcement of, thank you for wish you best. One of the things I really value about you was your transparency and openness, willing to just answer the calls, from the community and work with them. And so thank you for that. I know when we started over a year ago, I wasn't even this seat yet, but we had a conversation about trying that community engagement and making sure that the new port operator is going to be out there engaging and responsive to the needs of the surrounding area. So I want to thank you for that. I heard a lot of great comments from people how well you treated them, and so I just want to wish you the best. And thank you for your service that you did and brought to the area.
thank you.
Yeah, go ahead.
So when I know you came in, all of the board shared a collective sense of cautious optimism. I really appreciate your honesty. You have, you put the good on the things in the industry, I was limited. I appreciate that. And, I wish you well in the next endeavor and have some good things in life. I've been in so many meetings, so you, were, remember, beginning, and, I hope it's going to
Appreciate it. But I too want to thank you as chairman. You know, you've been easy to work with. You've always been honest to all of us. And, I know you worked hard to get the business up, and like you said, it kind of goes and go up and come down.
Thank you.
But I hope we've been a good partner with you. And we helped you. I know we helped you in a lot of ways. You helped us a lot.
Yes, sir.
We certainly want to thank you for everything you've done, and I know Savage will continue to be that kind of partner for us, and it's looking forward to meeting the new guy, Mr. Needle, and we'll certainly work hard with him, and we'll work hard with us.
Very good.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. I know the public really appreciate you also reached out to the public. A lot of positive comments came from the public about the company. We certainly thank you. All right, I'm gonna move on to old business. First thing I want to bring up is the Customs and Border Protection Facility. David, I know you've got some information about that. If you want to talk about that quickly.
Sure, so, over the last several weeks, while we're waiting for our meeting with Director Bradshaw, which now looks like hopefully it'll be sometime in October, began meeting with the city planning department and others to identify some potential options for us. In the letter that I received from Director Bradshaw, she indicated that the option that we thought was on the table, which was to then operate out of Jacksonville, is not a viable option. So we're left with needing to either upgrade the existing customs house facility or build a new structure. And so, again, meeting with the historic district planner for the city to understand what is possible on the property that the existing customs house sits on. I believe that both of those options, either adding on to the existing house, which is roughly 800 square feet, their basic requirement is to 1,300 square feet. That we do eventually add on to that structure. I believe they can contribute to the structure of the historic district, so we'll be careful how we review that. But that is an option. The other option would be to construct a new building immediately adjacent to it on the property. I think in order to have Oprah be able to make an informed decision on the path forward, we need to utilize the services of a professional architect, one who is familiar with the not only the land development regs in Trinity, but also the historic district guidelines, to be able to work with customs to better understand and refine their design guidelines, something that might work for us here in Trinity. There is an opportunity for funding that effort. The Florida Seaport Council, the SDEC Council, will be meeting on October 25th. You allocate roughly $140,000 of Seaport security grant money that was not allocated at the August meeting, that was left on the table. I have made a request to SDEC for consideration of $25,000 from that pot that would match, that would be a 75-25 grant. That would be matched 25% by Savage, we match, provide that 25% match if we're successful in getting the grant. I think our chances are pretty strong. I think we made a good case. And so hopefully when we meet with Director Bradshaw, we can report to her either that we have the grant funds in place and then we'll move forward with an RFQ to select an architect, or where we are in that process. And I think that's really what Customs is most looking for right now, is a path forward, right? And that overlay is taking some positive Sept for remedying, their office. So, with that, if you have any questions, I'm happy to. We have a meeting set up, and when we do not have a meeting set up, her email indicating that it would be October before she could commit to a date. So I continue to, correspond electronically with her, and hopefully, as soon as she has time, she knows the importance of the meeting, and our interest. I think we have to continue to make progress, move forward, in lieu of that meeting, and so I was going to report back to her that when we have taken some time to do stuff forward.
Basically, that's all I want from us right now, is how we're gonna address it, how we're gonna forward, what the best path forward is. Personally, I think we should leave the customs house where it is, add on to it. Let the architect tell us how much we need to add on. It'll be a lot less expensive, keep them there, conform to all the historic district guidelines, make sure that we do that. I think the old head, the location that's in now, that's location for it, because all the electronic, already set up, and we have to move all that too. So it will cost about half as much to leave it where it is and add on to the building. And wouldn't be that much more to add on to it if they need it. But we need an architect to come in and make sure that they can tell us what needs to be done and what the cost is gonna be for that.
No, has very specific design guidelines that they promulgate for these types of facilities nationwide. And, so they lay out, a lot of equipment and fixtures and finishes that you would not normally see in a regular office building. But I think Director Bradshaw also has some leeway in that definition, and so I think having a professional architect working with customs and with us to come up with a facility that works financially for us and works operationally for them is the best path forward.
Yeah.
So, David, I really wanted to thank you for following up on the requirements of the funding. We had at our last meeting set as a special meeting, which was canceled when the storm. And in the meantime, we were able to identify source of the funding throughout the letter and to that point. So thank you for taking this seriously. This pushing to take it in. It's a long-standing problem. I think 10, 15 years that the customs board has been asking for upgrades, and they do have a wish list. It's very long and expensive, and they acknowledge that. They acknowledge that we have some flexibility there. I did have a discussion with Director Bradshaw, and she was very candid that she wants to work with us and the community. She acknowledged the historic district requirements and wishing to accommodate the requests, but also with the gentle reminder that the federal government does have supremacy in this regard. So if there needs must be met for national security reasons, that they will get those needs met to protect our national security interests. So just keeping that in mind. And in terms of potential solutions, I would just like to say that in long term, operating costs of the existing facility might justify investment here. I think we should honestly look at those options and the potential to move the customs house to another location and make it as moving for the structure to prevent the connection to that warehouse. It's not considered to be contributed because of the larger building that's attached to it. So it would become historically significant. So I think that's important. Everybody has an entry with the community. And I don't want to touch on any discussion later, but I believe that our existing property information presents some of this solutions. But again, thank you for
Well, I've had discussions with the Bradshaw and the other people in the customs house, and they don't want to. I'm telling them, they don't say they're like about where they are. I know that they'd like to see a nice big facility somewhere, But I don't think the project wants to need a facility built on any of that property down there. Keep it where we are, say, probably several $100,000, keep it where it is. I wish I could share with you everything that the September house is gonna require to be put in that building, but because it's the federal government, they don't want you to know about it. So, and there's a reason for that, because it is kind of secretive. They don't want the public to know what equipment they've got in there to keep public safety where it should be. So at some point, it'll probably come to light. Right now, we can't share it. There's a lot of money involved, and a lot of equipment, and maybe just another 3,000 square feet. 1,300 square feet more on that building.
No, it's 500 more on the building, but total is 13.
Total 1,300 square feet. And I just can't see picking up and moving somewhere else. It would be disconnected from wherever it's connected to right now. That wouldn't be a problem. That's why we need to get an architect in here to tell us what.
Sure, I thought that there's one more thing I wanted to ask you about. I just want to clarify one thing. So I'm going to and then I think there was some discussion on the phone as to whether our funding and or commitment to the project was somehow tied to increase revenues. And that, if you just clarify that that's not the case on that.
Yeah, so when I got on board and knew that the custom house was an issue, and remember that custom does have this national directive to clear cargo and protect the country in that regard. They don't pay for any of these facilities, right? So they're all non-revenue generating space for over. And so at the time, not only was customs in need of a new building or new space, there was interest on our part to have office space as well. And so we thought creatively about how we can build a structure where you have non-revenue producing tenants. And the idea was that the cruise business, if we could couple it in the same building, could generate that revenue source, not only to build the building, but also to pay the operating costs associated with it. That plan was briefed to customs. They were in favor of that plan. They thought it was a very good solution. But when we decided as part of the master plan to take the cruise terminal and the cruise business out of the master plan, we were left then having to come up with another plan for how we're going to fund this structure.
But it is clearly within our.
But the commitment to customs was never, the cruise terminal was a potential solution, but it was not, our commitment was not based on that. Does that make sense?
Any other questions? Wait for that. All right. All right, we're gonna move to the cover. We've got several items here. We kind of move around with it. Cover the storage.
So, Mr. Chairman, we briefed this, I believe, at the last meeting a little bit. And we talked just now a little bit, which I was asking Butch about it. The current plan is for us jointly with the operator to construct initially a 25,000 square foot fabric warehouse on the terminal to serve the break bulk cargo that we traditionally have handled and plan to handle in the future. We do have an existing open grant to help fund that project at 50%. And we have a commitment from the operator to fund the other 50% match. So what we are asking for the commission to do tonight is take two actions. I'm not sure if there's a preference as to which action goes first, but one is to authorize the advertisement of the request for bids, which will publicly advertise both on our website as well as the Demand Star procurement platform that we've been using. We will also do some direct outreach to several of the companies that we know operate in this space to make sure that we're able to get multiple qualified bids. Based on responses to that RFP, we would then come back to this commission for a recommended award of a contract to the preferable bidder, and then move forward with the manufacture and then erection of this fabric warehouse. So the first request is for approval to advertise the request for bids to solicit first a firm cost on one of the warehouses, and then an option to purchase a second 25,000 square foot warehouse within the next year as a phase two. No commitment to purchase that second one, but we'd like to at least get a market determination on what that second warehouse might cost. The second item, and closely related to the first, is a letter agreement that you also have in the package between Savage and OPA, whereby they will fund 100% of the invoices when they become due within 15 days, to then allow OPA 15 days to pay the contractor, because the construction contract would be between OPA and the private entity. So the operator agrees to pay us 15 days when the invoices come in. We pay the contractor. At the same time, we will invoice FDOT under the grant. And when we receive their reimbursement of 50%, we then provide that back to the operator. So at the end of the day, the operator is only in for 50% up to the grant amount, which is $750,000. The second thing that they will agree to do is make sure that they will pay upfront the administrative fee that's due to the Florida Ports Council anytime we implement a grant. There's a 1.75% administrative fee that the Florida Ports Council receives. The operators agreed to pay that on our behalf. They also have agreed to provide day-to-day management of the construction activity. So we'll be the ones on the terminal every day, checking on the progress, making sure that what we receive is what we pay for. And they will make sure that the contract, as we will, make sure that the implementation of the project complies with all federal, state, local building codes and ordinances. Don't know if I missed anything. So one action is to approve the agreement between us and Savage. And then the second is to authorize us to advertise the request for bids. I will add, this current grant that we're operating under does have an expiration date of March 31st of next year. I have been in communication with that DOT concerning that deadline. It's pretty tight. We lost about 30 days in this process due to the storm, because this was, we anticipated having this on the previous meeting that got canceled. So we've lost some time. DOT is willing to work with us on extending that date as long as we get it under contract, or at least have a time frame that the contractor provides us, so they know that we've got a path forward. They're willing to work with us on that deadline. So, if there's any questions, happy to answer. What do you want?
Chairman,
Yes, go ahead.
so I reviewed and commented on both of these documents. I did want to remind the board that the ultimate construction contract will come back to you for review and approval once we get those bids and all that. So there's still some process to go there.
And in accordance with the grant, before we actually execute any of the agreements, we've got to send them to, and the bid tabs to DOT as well for those records. So there is a process involved, but again, no contract will be entered into without full permission.
Okay, I did have one change, and then we just, Heather was sharing, and I want a little bit more time to review what you see today, but thank you for your work on this and for having reviewed it. I know in our last meeting, when we discussed this, we discussed including in the agreement with Savage reimbursement for package legal fees instead of their nominals, because but it's not to exceed amount. If that's something you could estimate and have the power to do Savage. But you know, these little costs, they do add up, and these grants, we really have to, they have great benefits to operators and to
And you and I had a conversation regarding that issue, and I did have multiple conversations with Bush and kind of do most the best I can. They had pushed back real hard on that, and I'll let, you know, Bush can comment on it if he would like. But it was a provision that we attempted to have in the agreement, and it was something they were not willing to accept. I think it's a cost of doing business. I do think the costs are fairly nominal, and Patrick can estimate what they are. But again, there was something that we tried to put in the agreement, and in the interest of time to get this done. They're not.
Yeah, that would just even one request, and it's only because if you look at the way these are structured from the operator, there's a fixed fee that doesn't have any connection to the grant activity. And the sizable amount of grant activity does carry a bit of commission to the operator, and it does carry a cost of that is not recoverable otherwise. We could not bill that to the grant proceeds, but that's not covered. And so I mean, that's the.
So what we can do timing wise, then, is move forward with the request for bids. That's gonna take some time, and then we will have discussion with Savage. I'll calculate, estimate, and see if we can bring in an amended letter agreement back. The letter agreement doesn't necessarily need to be approved today.
No, just prior to execution of the
Right.
contract.
So we can bring the letter agreement back to you. So if that's the will of the board, then we'll do that. And for tonight, we just consider approval of the request for bids.
Yeah, any other comment? I need a motion. Mr. Chairman, just want to say one thing. I agree with the board attorney, especially when I look back at this graph and I look at these tonnages, the way that they're fluctuating. I think we need to get the bids, find out what kind of money that we're looking at. And get some definitive instead of the, you know, hope so, maybe so. Let's get definitive before we move on with, because I am concerned about it. We're being a little. I don't know.
I'll make a motion to approve the RF.
The request for bids.
Rest of it,
Motion been made. That's what I'm referring with, but I would take that one step, that would give us time. Okay, well, we need to get a second first, you know, we can. I'll second. All right. Motion second to move forward with the request for bids. Now it's that, and you, to make sure that we can talk about that before we approve the word. Okay, any other comments? All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries. All right, and the next thing is the.
One other item I think that I had was the insurance proposal. So, as you know, we've been having discussions over the last several months regarding our requirement now to provide workers' compensation insurance. And we ran that one to ground as best we could, and FMIT was certainly the lowest cost option for us. At the same time, we received our proposal for our other insurance renewals. There was a sizable increase in rates from last year. In talking with the insurance representative, a lot of that increase was part of a statewide, as we all know, on our own individual property, statewide increases in property coverage. And part of it was based on our claims experience this past year, particularly with the legal fee reimbursement. So, I'm talking with a number of brokers, including FMIT, as well as the broker for the city and county. The recommendation was for them to provide us with two options. One was to include our current coverages that we have plus workers' comp, and the other was to take out the property coverage. And both brokers that I spoke with recommended, based on the only property that we're covering essentially is the property that we have in our office, which are few file cabinets and a desk, that this may be the time to take that property coverage away. It's about $3,000 saving. But that's something that would be a decision that commissioners would need to make. So you have both options available to you in your packet. Both include, as I said, the workers' comp, which is about $5,000 of the premium. So the full package with everything is about 23,000, and the option where we take the property coverage out is right around 20,000. And then this new policy will take that out to the first of the current policy is 5.
So we need a motion for one of these, either one. Yeah, the lower, whichever lower cost,
Whichever way.
if there was the lower end of the property value or death and the process, the public evidence that the property is. Not what that's not how it is. So here's that. Motion been made and seconded to take the lower cost. Workers' comp insurance. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye. All opposed, no. All right, moving on. This is what most of the people who are still sitting here waiting on. Let me first address. We voted last meeting to sell all 3 apartments. And that's what we intend to do. Now, the next step in that is to hire a broker to handle all these sales for us. We were all given packets from each of the brokers to look at. We've gone over those. Some of them came to our meetings and presented their proposals. We had a community meeting a couple of weeks ago with the community. And I think they voiced their desire to have a particular one. I've looked at them, and I know we've all looked at them. And what I'm going to do right now is to make a motion that we hire John Coleman from Cabana Lane Realty to handle our sale of our property. Do I hear a second? Motion been made and seconded to hire John Hillman, Cabana Lane Realty to handle the sale of our property and discussion.
Mr. Chairman, so I'll first say, when looking at the proposal, is one that jumped out at me, and for a lot of varying reasons, but I know he knows the process with the city of Beach, and he's very familiar with historic district guidelines. So I certainly appreciate that, and he's very detailed in his storytelling and just everything that he showed where we can be. So I appreciated that, and we'll talk on this. So I agree with that. But I want to get into the deed restrictions, and maybe this is not how we do it. Maybe that's that part.
I don't think.
Well, and I want to make sure that we do this. I want whoever we select, Mr. Hillman, I want him to understand what we're doing, how we're moving forward, and then we're gonna have these guidelines on there.
Sure.
So if it needs to be, and then maybe that could be the motion that comes up after this vote, but I can make sure that we're coming back to that, because I think it's imperative that, again, we can understand, if that's the direction to go.
So if I may, Chairman, to Commissioner Taylor's point, my preference would be that all the details that you set forth in the listing agreement between us, whichever broker you establish, which we will then have to approve. So I think tonight what you're doing is identifying who you want to select and who you want to see a listing agreement from, that we will then review and bring back before you with all the considerations we heard and feedback you provide that will have to be approved separately. And my preference would be all of that would be in there, so we're all clear today as to what we're asking for, what we're expecting.
And that's what I was asking.
Yes, and
my priority would be the restriction also, people have been talking about with the property owners. I know they have a desire to see these restrictions put on. We certainly will work for that. Yes.
I just want to reiterate that what we're talking about in the restrictions is built in the deal with the block open. The historic basic guidelines, single family, those are all things that we can bring into it. So we will address those issues and we'll get to that before we actually go into it.
Yes, we've heard you out there, and that's what we intend to do. To make sure that you know that. Any other discussion?
I wanted to thank, the, other commissioners, Jennifer, for, discussing the restrictions that are going on, and for considering the impact to this school district. It's a good example of the way we should serve the community. And also want to thank vendors for very thoughtful, submissions and responses. They're very helpful to this body as, we try to proceed with decision making. And that said, I have been very forthright and supportive that I do not support selling property to fund ongoing operations.
We haven't said what we're going to do before.
And
That might be-
we don't have any plan for what other property or fixed asset that we would find. This board, there are two members of this board that were part of the decision to enter into a long-term operating agreement and source of legal troubles for this board. We have ongoing litigation and we need to settle. But the simple matter is that our quarterly fee, our quarterly revenue is fixed. And in the history of OPA, we have never been able to establish a director at a salary limit. Our fixed quarterly fee is budgeted $297,000. And we received over $800,000 in parking funding, which the board saw as an opportunity to finally hire a director. I think that was a good thought process. However, I don't think we should have made that another decision. And at our June meeting, I did ask the board, given the financial situation, to get notice, and they agreed that his contract was not renewed, that it did not honor it. And we are all taking painful changes to, that will impact us personally as part of this budgeting process, and I just want to go on the record and this, that it's nothing against saving. It's just the reality that we funded this through fixed funds. Right? And that's why I usually talk about having a temporary recovery fund. That was considered by the school. And unfortunately, the decision to fund an ongoing fund. But we don't have a source of revenue to fund that. And I think our legacy as members of this board is to sell land. I mean, your name's not going to be on the plaque like you do like that. Because he our film, we just land over. Public lands, buffers are valuable. The community has said they want to support the people's land. I mean, when we acquired lots on Bay Street in 2003, we're the public against the law. I mean, the fact that the community wants us to own it, and have buffers, like we're supposed to do, how can we defend what we're supposed to do? And so if we have a way to do that, we need to follow our charter. We need to make the tough decisions we make.
No. Listen, we have monthly meetings with them. We have not had a meeting to, allocate money with the expense, but we all have a desire to. There's one that the executive director and I have discussed, and we're looking into it, that we buy some property at Crawford Diamond, which is going to be one of the. It's gonna boom out there before long, because the infrastructure is getting built, I got water out there now. We want to buy some land out there, build a facility with this money. Lease out the facility or sell it to, someone that needs to come in and use it. So we haven't made any decision about whether, we know that there's certain things that cannot be spent for. We understand. But, the vote I'm about to take is to have this particular realty company and realtor and move forward. Yes, well,
Again, also just to clarify, so I know we discussed this last meeting, and it was, look at these three properties. I'm not for selling all three properties, so again, maybe that's gonna come as a second motion, we're just identifying the broker now. Well, when I'm looking at this, after the feedback I received from the community, I'm not, the one right there along, Third and Scampia, that's not my favorite one. I mean, let's look at the other two possibly, but let's look at it, let's identify a broker, see what we can do. But again, this is for all three properties, that's not my opinion.
it's fun, I'm not gonna look at it. We can make decisions about those things.
And again, I just want to make those intentions clear, because again, our job as OPA is to ultimately protect the interests of the surrounding community. And so I understand the back discussions and trying to figure out where, where's this money going to go? And there were a lot of discussions about that last meeting. But we've got to be careful of this, and that's where these questions are coming from. So I just want to make sure, reiterate, where I stand, and that we're making the best decisions.
So, Mr. Chairman, if I may, I will say that any offer received, whether approved or rejected, would have to be done by the board. So in the listing agreement, we need to spell it out. What we would be saying is that any offer the board would receive would have to come before this board for consideration. So on any of the property, so even if it's a lowball offer, or I'll give you 12 pigs for this, whatever it is, it's going to have to come before the board. So you'll see each and every offer presented on all three parties.
Do you have something to say about the motion?
Yeah, so about what you just said, some of the listing agreements that we looked at, they had a fee that would be payable if the bill is closed before the high offer. And so basically, the listing, work.
But that's not anything that's been approved or reviewed up. So any listing agreement would have to come before the board.
Okay, yeah, you just said like a sale agreement, it's where
Whoa.
you're saying the listing agreement is not approved.
No, the listing agreement will come before the board for you to approve to enter into a contract with the broker. What you're doing tonight is saying, this is the broker, we'd like to see that listing agreement.
I would like to be there. We voted, or the one that started about it, all voted to do that. All right, all in favor, signify by saying aye. I just want to clarify. We did, move forward with the sale. I'm on the, supporting one property. That's it's in my, it's in the minute. Because I feel like to sell them all, and then to be I'm just giving them the house, may not be the problem. I'm saying it's really not. Okay, all right, well, I just want to say, I'll come back, look at the minutes. I will agree that we sell one and we start play. All right, all in favor, signify by saying aye. That's fine, opposed, no. All right. Yeah. All right, I'm gonna take a 10-minute break, and then we're gonna get into our budget. For 10 minutes. All right. Come back to order. The next thing on the agenda is the budget. Now, I understand this has to be approved. Not, it doesn't have to be approved tonight, but it has to be approved by our next meeting at least. Can't go beyond that. So I want to discuss some items on the budget, hear what your thoughts are. And then we'll move from there. So, Bill, you want to start off?
Sure, so, I'll keep talking about this related to the budget. The last change was you put in the office administrator salary, which is the last. So the whole you put in the insurance, and a little bit of comp insurance. That's now $3,000 lower, so our current deficit is $21,000. No other changes have been made, so that's where we are.
You're 21. Forward.
So we just take $3,000 for the insurance, right?
Well, that's all right, yeah.
So
That's why you got
that's
to
a
do it.
$1,000 deficit right now. So I'll say, the easiest path forward is, so, you know, if we're gonna sell one of these properties, where the intention is to use that money to pay for operating costs, then we can just move forward with this budget as is with an addition of $21,000 additional funds from the sale of property. If we don't do that, we don't have a budget problem right now. The problem comes in July, August, when we are out. So, like I said, and at that point, the bigger decision is going to be obviously, we can't, once the ARPA funding runs out, currently, we haven't identified any funding for David's position. And we have no funding for additional leave. So if we make the decision that we're not going to fund this again, and but those decisions will have to be made at that point, unless we find other avenues for funding by then. So we don't have a cash flow problem now. We have an issue July or August. If we decide not to use sponsor for sale of property to fund expenses day to day.
Pierre, when under this current budget, when can OPA pay the outstanding legal fees? During what period of time can that be paid?
So tackling that data, so we have to watch out. So I think, I already sent you an email about this, right? At some point, so we received from ARPA $12,000 that we can put towards legal. Okay. So once the ARPA money starts to run out, then we have to be careful that the legal fees that we have to pay don't exceed that amount. Right, so the legal fees that we backed up, so again, so right now, I think we're at 63,000 last month of legal fees outstanding. Rosanna, do you have that number today? Did you add them?
It's about 75.
Right, so we have $75,000 legal fees today, outstanding as of today, right, which means that that's 7 months worth of reimbursements, 6 months, right? 6 months worth of reimbursement from ARPA.
From here forward.
Yeah. Okay. Which means that at some point, the ARPA funds are starting to run out. We can only spend the $5,000 a month that we have budgeted legally, right? So at some point, those funds are going to, that $12,000 is going to run out. It either runs out in December 2024 when ARPA ends, or before that, if we withdraw all the funds. Okay, and right now, so if we even if we get rid of the full director, sorry, I don't be so harsh about this. Even if we eliminated the board director's position today, then we'd be leaving ARPA funds on the table. Because we couldn't access ARPA funds, because we can only get $12,000 above between now and December 2024. Okay, so as I said, there's that fine line. We're using the ARPA funds as we go. How much, when, and essentially, that's why I say come July of 2024, we're gonna have all decisions today. Right? If we're not gonna use these capital funds as sale of property to fund the expenses, then you're gonna have to make a decision because the ARPA funds are gonna run out. We're not gonna have any more money to pay legal fees. So obviously, we would have to find a funding solution for David's position. And what are we going to do about any excess legal fees above what we can afford in our fixed fee budget, our $308,000 we received from the court operator as our total.
I just want to explain my question. The reason I asked is because if there's a predictable period of time where the outstanding fees will be paid, there is a consideration that we would be able to discount them. If we don't know when they're going to get paid, it's just these are outstanding, we'll pay them when we can. They're probably going to remain the way they are, the outstanding, not to go forward. But if there's an understanding that they will be paid off by X date, then there may be a consideration to discount those fees further to help make that happen. That's why I asked.
Well, there's nobody out there.
It's here.
Previously, we had, we made a contribution to the Napa County Economic Development Board and paid for the I believe that was $10,000. That payment, we had to do similar payment like that for previous for the role to be had a $10,000 payment for people. Would that qualify for the director?
Not much there. The only amount is $1 million. We tried to put the heating to, we tried to put life into, we tried to put the full security. That I said that the only fees right now to go to are essentially salary, but it's $2,000, which is also why one of the reasons why this whole workers' comp getting out of it. We thought that the problem was also the person themselves, we did not listen to the so no, I don't think. That's why I said that we're submitting early every month, every quarter, to our reimbursement. And that's what we use to pay the fee. And that's what I said, that's all we have to pay the fee.
So I just want to clarify. So you're saying that if we were to cut one of those dimensions that we would, you are the number of people kind of expires.
Right, because it's time on a month now, 71.4. Right, that's at $12,000. We have $320,000. But yeah, it would be more. Again, they rejected. We tried various ways to get that money. And they rejected everything. Essentially, like, again, even that was the whole reason we did this. One anyway, but one of the reasons was to make it federally did to make the federal criteria.
When we first started, we submitted how much it is. And it's all get back. Right. We get everything back. You can't do that. Can't send one thing down, it's sending.
But what is the development? That's what I. What is the development of what we even what we say? It doesn't even say how much it's not paying that.
Right, yeah, I'm talking about, I remember that.
But it's spending 141.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Once we follow, so if we continue to make the form direction, at some point in July, August, we are the one we use that. So we need to go. So at that point, again, we have to find another funding source. So we get to that's what our way was funding. For operating and the excess we right now, about
I'm not asking you to make a decision for this board. The challenge that I think we all had, we like said, and I do have this challenge, because I'm coming target. We're not getting really clear information about choice made. This is the end of the things of the expert. And I feel like there's changed a little bit, and we also don't have a business plan. So, you know, I would think that as a lucky body, we would have the business plan that's our budget, the moving, and a plan to get. We don't have that.
I don't know if the preference may be for business plan, but I'm not sure. Obviously,
That's company, but then I don't know. Very cool. Because it's good to be able to develop it.
so
it's like the bank says you sell property, or some people are you.
right, so I personally, and obviously, as much as your account, no, I do not agree with selling assets like property to the bond expensive monthly ongoing expenses. Right? So I don't think that's just, you know, again, you have a budget, you need to live within that budget. You have a fixed fee. Yeah, the plan is you receive a fixed fee, you have to live within that. Our fund has given you the ability to live above that. And as I said, part of was the decision to hire four operators. Yeah, four directors. Fine. And like I said, at some point that money will run out, and at that point, you'll have to decide. But again, well, if no decision is made, if you're not going to use the land sales to fund your position, there's no money to pay the David salary. You know, again, unless we can come up with some conclusion, I know we're looking at that, but right now, there's no viable alternative. There are a couple of years that we have to do before the operating can start to spin off any more funds that would be available to pay someone like David for a $4,500.
So, here, and part of my ignorance, I'm not an accountant, and looking at numbers in the headache, but, so when I look at this, so, and I'm looking at the ARPA reimbursement, for next year, we're looking at $230,000, so we'll just call it for around the say it's half of this year. But it's going to cover the salary as well as it will be. If the executive director's position is staying the same, that's when we talk about tough decisions we have to make. I mean, right now, David's kind of working without, we did agree to reduce, out of everyone's contract, but to work out some creatively. And said, look, we got till June, July, but then his salary for the position would be cut half, or the salary for that position, could essentially be cut half or to, a number that is going to get us, at least to that June, but that goes out to play. Does that make sense from?
So yes, I think so. So just to realize, obviously, essentially David's salary. $150,000 plus the expense, $150,000 plus $80,000 worth of legal fees that are outstanding to be paid, equals $230,000 in our money that we're going to receive, right? So again, those positions are paid for through the end of this budget, right? But the problem is that, again, sometimes. And again, I can't accurately predict it because it's a moving target to a certain extent. Remember, we've now increased the salaries by Rosanna's salary, right? So that's going to start to speed up by a little bit. The ARPA fund first.
So then ultimately we would get to the June and then, have to, still dated by, thank you for your work, or, still, I'm trying to.
But it doesn't matter, but even if we get through to September, right, to the end of the fiscal year, there's no option right now. Because all the money for ARPA is gone for sure by September 30th. There's no option in October 1st to pay for portrait. And there's no option right now to pay for, right, we have essentially 300, at that point, we have 308,000. Whatever that fixed fee number, that's what we have. So there's no money unless, and again, those are the decisions you have to make. But you know, right now, this budget would be $60,000 in legal costs. Plus an $80,000 to be reimbursed, right? So the ongoing legal fees are targeted at $60,000. Again, if we get to the point where the ARPA money runs out, you're gonna have to make decisions. Are the court cases ongoing? Where is that money gonna come from? You gotta decide whether they come, you know, wherever they come from. Sold the property, are you gonna take that money from the property to pay ongoing legal fees? That's, you know, you guys have to decide that. That's, again, there's no money above that right now that we can identify as when they are above.
Chairman, I know we've talked about the ARPA funding, many times. But are there any potential investments that you're aware of or that are Commissioner Paul, are there potential investments that can help with the ARPA funding that would grow revenue?
Right now, I think there is. I do not know. There's maybe more than one. We work on things on the wall, everything that comes to it. We're not there.
Well, land does have the ability to generate revenue.
Yeah, we take that money to sell the property, we buy them. We can either lease the land to someone. Forever. But we don't know. Before we can know, we're gonna have to lease the land, new people who are looking for warehouse, it's all the time. And it's not, well, until we can get the money to build something, either across the line or build, county, somewhere. That we could lease out to somebody that has business, bring these couple of stores. And can use our facility to shut stuff out. That's what I'm looking to use property. The economic development boards, get called, all the time, they're ready, they're ready to warehouse. They're ready to move their operation to, and we don't have it. And until the water and sewage is complete out there, probably we can't even begin to, but it's close, it's getting there. But there are a lot of customers lined up right now. And we had one, and they pulled the plug 21 days before we came about. So it is possible.
Your bid ARPA funds used for the property.
No.
Because then everybody had said something about transformational projects, that are for communities.
Remember, right now, there's only $150,000 for one left. Right, but we've already promised $75,000 right now to leave. Right, even if, like I say, we put a limit before credit tonight. We still promise already $75,000.
Still, we have some of that problem. That's what they do. Going forward. We don't have the money to build anything. We could lease out. That's it.
So
That's our problem.
okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So Customs and Border Patrol can build a facility on one of the day lots.
Well,
They have the ability to do that, so we don't need to use those lots.
no,
Because
they have to build it.
Customs and Border Patrol can have them build on our super one.
Oh, sure, they can build on our city.
Yes.
So we have that built.
They,
Yeah.
yeah, they're not funding.
We have that built.
That, because it's hard to. Right, the underlying property that the Customs House is currently on is industrial. And it could be something else. That could grow.
Could be, that's about, why move it?
I don't understand why you want to, because you want to take that property away. Because the community don't want to sell that.
No, that's not it. It's because I don't want 20 years from now, but we're gonna have no way to fund its ongoing operation because we sold off the last emergency plan. Land is your last emergency plan. Don't cover it. It's not a legacy. It's not a legacy.
Here it is a legacy. I care to keep operating port. I care to have customers and mortar here. I want to make them believe legacy. I don't care.
You need to leave the.
I will
There's
see
good,
that.
there's good economic and financial.
And that's what I'm trying to do.
This, you're hearing it from here. Here's telling you it's not a good idea to fund ongoing operations.
Say we want on operations with the money. Then we're gonna start building stuff.
Chairman, well, we've already voted.
I'm not, that's not what we're talking about. What we want to use the money for. You want to move the custom tax, you want to move it off, I'm not saying. It just makes no sense. When we got a building there already, you can add another few hundred square feet and have exactly what they want. Without having to move all the way on, all the stuff that's already set up, that's what they're telling. Leave it where it is. And move on. I know you're looking at the property owners around together. They don't want anything that, if I've got a piece of property out somewhere and I got an empty lot next to it, I don't want anybody to build on that either. I'd rather have it left over. And that's what they're all, that's all they're wanting. From the leave property open, not have somebody build next to it. That's all it is.
Is Westrock selling land in the city? Is Westrock selling any of their land?
Come on, don't throw the rest of it. You got the rest of that, you can say anything that's got.
And why is that?
Pioneer is selling it.
Yeah.
They sold, well, Westrock sold their company, congratulations to the chairman. But they don't sell their land in the city because they value their companies.
No, they don't.
And they know that if they sell it, right?
They're using that.
Well, there are sizable buffers. There are underlying lots of records they can sell. They don't.
But it's not a good argument.
There, let me get something, I just want to make sure that I'm clear, the ARPA funds are, this is set thing in 2024.
It's Sept.
Based on what I heard, based on what I see, I would go along with the commission pay, I'm not an accountant. But I know what works and what don't work, and what we're working for right now, we're getting to a perfect show. And if we don't calculate, and we don't pay attention to what we're doing, we could end up in a very fantastic difference. We'll not be able to get out. That's my fear.
Please explain that further.
I will explain that. We've got bills coming that we can't pay. We're depending on a fund that if the federal government or the state wanted to do away with it, they can do away with it overnight. It's been done before. And to sit here and put our eggs in those baskets, to me, makes no sense. We have a allotment, if you will, that we get every quarter, not correct?
But that's the only basket we have right now.
I understand, but we know how much money's in it. Yeah, and our accountants already told us, you get a certain amount of money, you gotta live, and that's what we're trying to do here. Okay, so what I'm saying is, we're planning on down the road. For things selling and using monies for different things that we don't even have yet. We can plan it, but we better not get anything, you know, so we're going to get it.
What do you mean we're not gonna do it?
But what I see on the real estate, it's not real strong right now.
Well, let's wait and see what that comes in.
I understand, and that's what I'm saying, but I'm looking down the road, we got people that we have to pay. And if we can't pay our bills in the future, we're working real quick to get to that point right now, Mr. Chairman. And to me, it makes no sense. If we've got things that we can cut back on, we need to start cutting.
I'm just gonna tell you that. Okay, well, we don't need to, I mean, we've got a board director that's been a topic of discussion for months and months. I mean, what, I want to ask you one question. What about this Florida Court Council? What do they do for this board? What do they do for it? David, you want to go on?
So the Florida Courts Council is they represent all Florida courts, Florida courts. They lobby on our behalf for state funding, as well as regulatory programs, things like that, environmental legislation. As a part of that system, we are then eligible for the FSTED program, or the Seaport Transportation Economic Development Program, which is where we get our state grant money. So $750,000 that we're contributing as part of our match for the warehouse comes from that grant. And the 25,000 that we hope to get for the custom house design comes from that.
You're right, that's $15,000. So that's something we have to have. Not only, again, I'm gonna say, we're approaching the first. We're not sitting here and we're gonna debate this. You said that we have to approve this budget between now and the next meeting. I'm not willing to vote right now on the budget. That to me makes no sense. It really doesn't. I've always believed in dealing in the percentages, not the possibilities. I want to know what we can get rid of. I mean, we've already voted to increase one salary, and I think that was money well spent. And I would never regret voting for that. But we have to take the bull by the horn. We can't sit here and keep hoping and wishing and believing something's gonna change. Let's change it. That's what we're here for. We have to make those decisions. Sometimes they're not popular decisions. And I appreciate the clarification on the ARPA, that if we leave that money on the table, that it's money given up. But I'm sure that there's money that we can look into. I know it's not popular, but to say that I would be willing to give up a portion of my income, I know some people can't do that. I understand, sir, and I'm not asking you to. But I'm just saying, that's how deep this is cut. And when you sit up at night and you worry about how is this all going to come about, I look at the numbers in the computer and I'm like, how can this be? If any one of us would run our home budgets like you're running this one, we would be homeless. We would be out in the street. And I'm saying we sit here and we debate, and we don't do anything, and we come back and debate, we don't do anything, and now you've given us a timeline that if we don't vote on it tonight, we have to vote on it by the last meeting of the month. What's going to change between those 2 weeks? That's what I'm asking.
That we was that the proposed to pay our federal directors $30,000 a year. Because every month it's going to be paid for 3 times the pay for and the purpose of that we give this salary would be to serve as our liaison to the board of responsible to be accepted. And that would not include the stipend for the travel and the request that please send for the applications. That is correct.
Giving up that money, that's impressionable. Another known policy.
Second for discussion.
Second. Motion been made and seconded, any discussion? That difference between the existing style and the new proposed style. Can that be used with the
I'll say, I'll see. No hand. Well, we would know when that did happen. Okay, that date's not going to pass, I don't know. At this point, like I said, there's no issue with paying our bills. The ARPA funds are there, they're sitting in a bank account, they've been allocated by the federal government. We can access them, as I said, we have been accessing for 2 years now. They're gonna be there. But so, as I said, there's no chance that we'll get to the point because obviously I'm already totally certain. Again, at some point in the future, we're monitoring that. We will get to the point where I can't promise that there's enough ARPA funds available to pay the legal funds that we owe him for past ones. Today, I can say confidently, the money is there, and it will be there as it comes in, and we'll be able to pay it.
With this fiscal year.
And when that is passes, we will be aware of that, okay? And again, it's not going to come until July, August, September of 2024. And at that point, like I said, then we'll have to make a decision. We want to make a decision about it. Again, we would be whatever. But there's no chance at this point that any deal is going to go hey, or forward. Obviously, most of the things that are important for the budget by their nature, and the reason we have a fixed cost reimbursement or fixed fee with the operator is because those items are considered the insurance, the FSTAT fee, obviously your salaries, obviously the board director salary, my salary, office administrator salary are considered necessary fixed fees for operating the portal. So again, there's no chance right now that any of those fees are going to go unpaid in the near future.
they'll also run back?
Right. But if we get rid of the office, we eliminate the 4 hours of time. Like I said, we leave $100,000 out of money. February 2024, have $100,000 in section of our money. Then we'll go back and federal government. Whatever we're doing.
$100,000, but otherwise, what we would say we're also.
What?
Yes.
No.
Because we did, we said yes, we did say yes.
But all the paying that $106,000.
Right, but remember, so if you don't spend it on data, are we not going to spend it on data? Right, so we're going to say that. Well, it's hard, I understand this, I mean, the problem, there's trade-off here, right? So, but if we don't, we're not paying data, right, then we can access it and pay legal fees, additional legal fees. Beyond, so right now, when the ARPA money runs out in September of 2024, we'll have access to all the money available. It will go on to your legal fee data. If David's position is no longer here, then there's money left in our club, and we can continue to claim ARPA funds for October, November, December, and therefore that's an additional $30,000 we can pay those for. That's where the difference. Yes, we're cutting $150,000, saving down $100,000, or even $100,000. I understand this ARPA and the reimbursements make it complicated because, like I said, it's very often between what we can plan and what we can't.
Any further discussion about the motion?
I would like to state the motion, and again, this would be subject to David's acceptance. If you didn't accept this, then I would make a different motion. So these are the motions that we would offer David $30,000. These are the representative. Correct.
I'm assuming that motion.
You confirm seconding that?
So the description would change and it would minimize just the.
So essentially, to make it. During that. Part-time, whatever.
For. For how much? 30.
Yeah.
30,000.
Should be about 500.
Three times what we paid for the same.
All in favor, say aye.
I said, I had one more question here, just
I'm
trying
sorry,
to
go
say, just to make sure, so again, this, that money we have, I think that then go toward these legal fees, right? So that's what I'm understanding. So we're cutting this down to 30,000, but then consultant, then it's employee, would be a year's. Our plan is to cover that cost, but in that additional, that funding there, then goes to cover our legal fees.
You only $100,000.
Yeah, well,
There was $100,000, there's 220, again, it's $12 a month. Now, you enter 2024, that's $216,000 versus $301,000.
Any other questions? All in favor, say aye. All opposed, no? No. No. Motion carried. David, do you accept?
Chairman, I'd like to make another motion.
Well, I want to know David accept. what we
And that's
did.
actually what the motion goes to the comment. Thank you. If I may. Chairman, please, I would like to make another motion of the alternative, just so the David's not on the spot, to answer tonight. So, I would like to propose a motion that should David not accept the offer that was in the previous motion, that we would appoint, you as chair as our liaison to the Courts Council, as previously, and to serve in that same capacity, which would be the alternative. There would be no $30,000, there would be no $150,000 budget. It would just be a zero item, we would go pay that. Previous motion, the alternative David is not accept the offer.
So you pay him 30,000, not me.
You can't pay and serve on the board. So that was my motion.
You seconded? Yes. Motion been made and seconded. You heard the motion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no? No.
I didn't hear that.
No. No.
3-2.
So Chairman, if I could just clarify, you voted against the motion, but would you still consider this offline
No.
to serve in that role?
No.
So Chairman, if I may, I apologize for the tires and motions. Chairman, I would like to make a motion if Mr. Kaufman does not accept the competing offer, that we would nominate Commissioner Michael Cole to serve as our liaison on the Courts Council. Which this would be in the alternative because we don't someone to serve in that capacity.
You got too much stuff going on here. David, would you accept that?
Not.
Get a mic, dude. Get a mic. You got one?
So this is the first time I've heard this proposal, or not prepared to write the comment on the record. I will say that I think maybe two of the commission, probably one of the commission, when I was hired, part of being hired, just wanted to set the record straight, so everybody understands. We executed at that time a 3-year contract with the understanding that the position would be funded by the ARPA funds. And there was enough funding in the ARPA grant to fund that position for 3 years. With the understanding that in that 3-year period, the goal would be to figure out a revenue stream to continue that position, or if we were successful, then at that point, the position would sunset, or there would be some other action. There's language in the agreement, you know, I'm not gonna, again, negotiate anything tonight, but there is language in the agreement that says that the ARPA reimbursements were to be essentially put in a box for that purpose, to pay for the position, not to use for other purposes. Obviously, we had extraordinary legal expenses, and so the decision was made to allocate the reimbursement for legal expenses, which has already shortened that position now to something less than, or right around 2 years. Really, it was 3 years and almost 3.5 years. I was starting June, really down to October. So, you know, there's a lot wrapped up in that. I think the position is much bigger than just representing y'all at S10 or Coach Council. And certainly those responsibilities need to be picked up by somebody. You know, whether it's you guys as commissioners or Lana or somebody. So again, I don't want to provide an answer tonight, and again, this is the first time I've heard it. Not what I expected here tonight, frankly. But it's something that I have to consider, and I would like to benefit some time to do that.
As chairman, and because there's been a lot discussed tonight, but we've heard of a lot of it, I'm gonna take a little further discussion about budget in the next meeting. All right, what else we got?
Excuse me, Chairman,
Yeah.
you tabled that
Next
motion
meeting.
until the next meeting.
No motion. No.
Okay.
Motion. Yeah, go ahead.
Thank you, Chairman, for the other, can you give a date this yet, request, letting the board know, requesting an executive session shade meeting in the, pilot payment case, should probably do that this month. I need to do a little bit of work, talk to a few more of you, but while we're here, I'd like to try to get something on the calendar, preferably the last, week of this month. I already told the chairman I cannot attend the September 27th meeting. I got a hearing that I'm going to go over. I can't be up here, so that's when we generally have our second meeting. I know we need another budget meeting before October 1st, but I would request a standing public meeting to conduct a shade meeting sometime, preferably in the afternoon. That's the meeting the public's not really involved in. We open the public meeting, conduct a shade meeting, reconvene, close. So that's my intention. You've got a chance to look at your calendars. I'd like to at least tentatively get something on the books for late September for a shading.
Calendar, 28.
So I can do anything in the afternoon.
2 o'clock on 28.
You don't need to do this here.
Yeah.
What's my reason?
He said two.
Can we do later?
No.
It's
I mean, I can meet that. I can meet on the 28th anytime that afternoon.
3 o'clock. Wow.
Because it's the end of the month and the end of the quarter.
What's that?
I have a job. We have jobs. If the public doesn't come to the meeting, the public doesn't come to the meeting.
Well, it is a public meeting, open public meeting. It's noted as like a public meeting. Well, conduct any other business, but to commence the shade meeting, conduct the shade meeting.
How about the 25th at 2 o'clock?
Problem. Sorry.
What about, we're gonna meet on the 27th? Correct. We're meeting on the 27th.
No, I can't.
We can't do that on the.
No, I think you're having a budget meeting, right?
Good, but you can't do it.
We cannot.
I'm just gonna say prior to that.
I cannot do the afternoon of the 26th, so 25th, 28th.
That's before or after is on this. Please.
I do not want to do that, but.
Yeah, if we're,
Right.
so which day, 25 and 4. The 5th. Present, I'll get you what you need.
Okay, thank you. I need to check if the PEC is open, but I'm sure it's available.
Why don't we do the 28th for?
I have the 25th
Yeah.
at 4.
Yeah.
Okay. And then the 27th for the budget meeting
Yes.
Correct,
at 6 p.m.
correct.
Okay,
What? 27th? Regular meeting?
you have to approve the budget before October 1st.
Huh? Are you available to your phone? But.
I was gonna say, we're about to 25th.
Do we have enough time to notice it?
Yes, we do.
Yeah.
The budget meeting, after shade meeting, then on 25th.
So on the 25th, starting at 4, we have shade meeting. Right soon after is the budget meeting,
6.
the 26th
No, at 6.
at 6. Okay,
2 hours of shade.
Well, didn't matter.
too many dates.
You know what I mean? Yeah, nothing on the 26th. Sorry. All right, any other questions about dates? Or,
If I might ask, just going back to the previous motion. Did I presume that since you voted to essentially eliminate the position, and create a new one, that the effective date of that would be October 1, or what would be the effective date?
Chairman tabled the discussion, so I don't know where we are.
What's the effective date of your proposed?
Just the accept that.
Are you okay to reopen the discussion? So the motion was to extend the offer for her to consider the $30,000 to remove this position, so as soon as we.
October 1st, we
As soon as we voted on that, we're voting to eliminate that position. Okay, so that position has been voted as eliminated. We haven't proposed another date for the start of this position. That wasn't part of the motion. So we're extending an offer, which would be an opportunity for us to get into discussions of a particular agreement, is my understanding. That's my understanding. But I can't speak for the other members who voted. He asked me a specific question that we did not vote on, so what we voted on was to eliminate the position. That passed.
And we've extended an offer to him for $30,000. If he wants to enter discussions with us, then we will come to terms on the agreement. That's my understanding. Does that work for you, Patrick?
Any other questions? All right. Man,